coffee and tea should not raise blood sugar, but there's a problem, and that is almost nobody likes coffee or tea by themselves. But you got to add something to it. And one of the favorites, of course, is cream or half and half. I wouldn't advise using milk. Milk has too many carbs, but half and half isn't bad, and cream is better still. And cream should not have much of effect on your blood sugar either, because it's almost pure fat, and fat just doesn't raise blood sugar. So you can get by with some cream in your coffee or cream in your tea. And if you're just determined to drink your coffee or tea black, well, I'd go with the coffee. I don't mind black coffee so much. I'm not crazy about it. But black tea, to me, is just nasty. I've got to have a little cream in my tea. And the other thing is, most of us want something sweet. Let's just be honest. Coffee without anything sweet just feels like it's not quite there, and the same with tea. So, is there a way we can put something sweet in our tea? Well, sugar is out. Sugar is our enemy. We don't want to consort with sugar any more than we have to, if we have to at all. Once in a while, I'll eat some regular peanut butter, and I know they've added a few grams of sugar to it, but not much. And I'm going to show you a product that has a little sugar added, but very little. So I won't say that I never touch anything that has any amount of sugar, but if it has significant sugar, like yogurt and like pastries and soda and so forth, I'll stay away from those forever. So what about tea? Well, I like to have tea in the morning. It's like these days, and I change my routine from time to time, but these days my routine is I wake up in the morning, and often I will make me a cup of tea. Black tea these days. I'm trying to cut back a little on the cream. I've kind of had the feeling that I probably overdo it on this heavy cream. Benedict and I can just go through this heavy cream like crazy. And lately I've just felt like I needed to slow down a bit. I'm not giving it up, but I'm probably going to try to cut back. So black tea with some kind of a sweetener. Now, here's what I found in the store. I spent about maybe almost 15 minutes looking at some of the different options for making juice. And I wanted something that was relatively sugar-free. This one actually has a little sugar. I'll talk to you in a minute about that. But basically sugar-free. And another thing I didn't want, and I found that in so many of these type of juice mixes, is maltodextrin. So many things that have some type of sweetener in them, artificial sweetener, non-sugar sweetener, they will include maltodextrin, and that is just about as bad as sugar. So I found this. This is called Black Cherry Limeade. True Lime, I think, is the brand name. And it has packets. It has 10 of these packets. And each packet is made to fill up a glass of 16 ounces of liquid, 16 ounces of water. So you pour a whole packet in, 16 ounces, stir it around, and you've got yourself kind of like a lemonade or a juice drink of some kind. But that's not what I wanted this for. What I did was I took each of these packets, I cut off the end. I bought a box of a slightly different version, and I put it in here. So I've got all of this powder from 10 or 9 packets. I think Benedicta took one of them. So 9 packets of this juice powder that you're supposed to mix. And so with my tea, what I do is this is a tiny little spoon, and I don't want to quite fill it up. Now, keep in mind, this is made for 16 ounces for the whole pack, but this little tiny, not quite full spoon wouldn't represent a whole pack at all. So I put this in here and stir it around. So what is involved here in terms of ingredients? Well, it has no artificial sweeteners. It says it has stevia, and it has 1 gram of sugar for 1 packet. So that means 16 ounces. But this this little cup of tea isn't 16 ounces. It's about a little over about 5.5 ounces of liquid, of water. So I'm not even using a full packet by any means. And yet it's going to make it sweet enough. So basically, even though it does include 1 gram of sugar for one packet, I'm not using even close to a packet. I'm using about 1/4 of a packet or 1/3 of a packet. So I'm getting about 1/3 of a gram of sugar, and it's enough. It sweetens the tea well and makes it much more pleasant. So this is one thing you can do. Another thing you can do, you can buy these. This is a Splenda brand. It's not just Splenda, but somehow they've got a brand called Splenda. And you can squirt this in. One of the nice things about this, you don't even have to refrigerate it. Once you open it, you can just keep it out. And 1 squirt, and it'll sweeten up your tea. So the nice thing about liquid Splenda that is so superior to powdered Splenda is powdered Splenda will almost always include maltodextrin. Liquid Splenda will not. So this just has the Splenda by itself. According to the late Dr. Bernstein, that's the best way if you're going to use Splenda is get the liquid stuff, not the powdered stuff. They're going to throw in not only maltodextrin, but sometimes dextrose itself, which is essentially sugar. So that's how I sweeten tea. And with coffee, I will put in the heavy whipping cream, but I'll just do a small amount, just enough to cover the bottom of the cup. So once that cup, the bottom of the cup is filled, then that's enough cream. This is so rich and intense that it doesn't take a whole lot. And then a lot of times I will use this, which is a coffee syrup, and it's sugar-free. And this is also sweetened with liquid Splenda, but doesn't have the maltodextrin, doesn't have the dextrose, and that works. Or another way is just little packets like this. Again, you got to be careful with these because if you are not careful, you'll find that these packets have maltodextrin in them. But this one doesn't. This whole earth, this has got erythritol and stevia and monk fruit. It's kind of a combination of several things. And this by itself is not powerfully sweet, but it'll take the bitter edge off your coffee. And the same thing with this. I looked long and hard through the store aisles to find something. This is great value, Walmart brand, stevia. And a lot of times when you buy stevia in a bag, it's got that maltodextrin, which is basically a glucose spiking, blood sugar raising ingredient. This does not. It's erythritol, and it's got some stevia extract and natural flavors. No maltodextrin, no dextrose, just erythritol and stevia. So this works too, and like I said, you want to be moderate with these things. You don't want to just dump them until the thing is as sweet as some kind of a soda or grape juice or orange juice. Just take the bitter edge off with like 1 packet of this and then put in a little cream and you'll be fine. So, in summary, these non-spiking drinks don't seem to pose a danger. They may actually do you some good. And nothing wrong with putting a little bit of cream in there. Nothing wrong with putting a little non-sugar sweetener in there. Just don't overdo it. And enjoy yourself. And one of the things is with a cup of coffee, it helps fill you up so you don't have to eat quite as much food as you would otherwise. All right, there's your little coffee and tea lecture for the day. God bless. See you again soon.
Probably most of you know my wife Benedicta, but few of you know the amazing paths God has led her to bring her to where she is today. Benedicta was orphaned at an early age and lived with an elderly stepmother growing to adolescence. They were so poor, Benedicta had to drop out of school and sell food door to door for them to survive. As a teen, Benedicta got a job as a housemaid, which developed into a nightmare. She was required to cook, clean, wash, take care of the children, and she had to get up at 4 a.m. every day just to get her work started. Worse than that, she was frequently beaten. At around 20, she moved to the huge city of Lagos where she started her own little business. Sometimes she prospered, but at other times she nearly starved and went days at a time without eating. At one point, she became so sick she passed out in her room and nearly died. She found herself outside of her body, and she was able to see the splendors of heaven until she was sent back with a command to share her story. One day, however, her life changed when an American evangelist came to her community to preach. And of course, that was me. The rest, as they say, is history. Benedicta has shared her life story in a recently published autobiography, and you can get it on Amazon as either an ebook or a paperback. A link to this book on Amazon is in the description.